Mr. Slick, and I just want to know, is stereotyping in women real? Because every other girl I get seems to fall from the same region. And yeah, and every other girl that I attract seems to also come from the same region. So maybe tell me more about this.
Oh, Pasi, what do you think about that?
MC Slick.
Yes.
I don't know whether you're attracting people from the same region or you are pursuing people from the same region. But yes, sometimes there are stereotypes. You know, there can be cultural stereotypes. Sometimes there can be physical stereotypes where you will lock out everybody else that has certain features. So preferences, sometimes that does happen. But if you were attracting people, in fact, I'm even surprised that you did notice that they all come from the same region. Because I think that when you're getting into a relationship with somebody, you are looking at the person. And most times, Mwikali, most times, we tend to fall in love with the same person.
It's
That
true.
means that you break up with John and you're with Richard, and most of the times, there's a lot of John in Richard. There's a lot of John and Richard. There will be certain things that you can look at who somebody has been with over time and you see quite a lot of similarities. So you'll find that we all have a certain bias. I wouldn't call it a stereotype, but I think we all have a certain kind of bias. There's the kind of people that we feel we can relate with, or the kind of people that we feel we connect with. There's the kind of people that we feel that we can go along with, or people that we prefer. Sometimes it's physical. You know, somebody might prefer people who are dark and slim. Somebody prefers people who are light. If he sees anything light, you know, anything just light, he will go after it. He'll find out about it later, but he'll be attracted to that. So
I think it's a thing. It could be tribe, it could be looks, it could be anything.
it could be anything.
It could be even people with certain behaviors. Probably they wear spectacles. You just find yourself attracted to people who wear
Yes, some people find
spectacles.
that very, very attractive. And then you'll discover with things like, for example, now, if you're dealing with features of somebody's physical features or probably skin color, you may then eventually end up finding that most of the people that you're relating with have come from a particular place, not because you really were looking for people from that place, but because you're looking for certain features which seem to fall in a certain place.
All right. That was MC Slick with a question that, is it a problem that he finds himself attracted to people from the same tribe? Let's take a look at the third question.
Hi, Pastor Chris. I'm Yusuf. Should couples expose their conflict in the public?
Yusuf, any relationship is supposed to be very personal. I'm a believer that relationship is like a construction where you've got to serenade the construction and build it till the building is solid. I'm not a believer in playing out your differences out over there. I'm not a believer in, you know, not talking the two of you. So before you even get to the place where you want to talk about it outside, you've got to try and solve your conflicts, handle it. Because eventually, if you're still relating with this person, you're still going to have to deal with each other. And sometimes in conflict resolution, the side shows usually take up more than the real issues. So you find that people can't get back together, not because the issues were big or the issues were deep, but because the side shows overrode the real issues. So as much as you can, whenever you have your conflict and your issues, try and get the two of you. If you can't solve the two of you, then you find trusted people or people that you can work around with, and then you get to solve your problems, but away from the public.
Away from the public.
Yeah.
Now, this brings in something that I'm picking up on social media, and Hilda is asking silent treatment. I've been in a relationship with this guy for a while, and every time we get into an argument, I opt the silent treatment. Is this right? He says that it makes him feel intimidated.
It's a tricky situation because communication is the bloodline of relationships. It is the circulatory system of relationships. Everything hinges on the communication. Whether you're talking finances, trust, friendship, everything. Just like blood in your body will do the distribution for nutrients, for oxygen, that's what communication does. So the moment you cut it, you kill it. When blood stops flowing in the body, you're just killing that body. So that's what that does. You need to have the uncomfortable conversations. When you're upset, when you're hurt, when you're wounded, I know that some people, they prefer to just go quiet on it, but then try as much as possible to raise those issues, because the other person will be working on perceptions, and sometimes those perceptions may be wrong. They may be having interpretations based on their own feeling, and that would not be what you want them to receive as a message. So always try and talk about it, however uncomfortable it is.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, let's take a look at the next video.
Hi, Pastor Chris. I'm Augustine Wechende. A friend of mine got engaged, and we are discussing how long should it take for them to walk down the aisle.
Oh, commitment is a big issue right there. What do you have to say about this?
I think that a lot of men, commitment is a very huge word. It's a very huge word. Men are investors. Men are investors. They are dealers, they're business people. They want to get into something and know that they're going to get something out of it. So before they make that move, they really want to be sure. Then again, sometimes you find that somebody's not battling really with you. They're battling with themselves.
Okay.
They're not sure that they're ready to commit at that particular point, because commitment takes a lot of discipline, So it may not be you, it may just be them. But on the other hand, again, they want to make sure that you're here. So they're in love with you, they don't want you to leave. But on the other side, they do not want to commit yet, because they're not so sure that they will perform at that level. Yeah.
Could it be that the problem is Tracy? That probably she's pushing this guy too hard, too fast.
That's also a possibility, that's also a possibility, because there's also ladies who you go two dates,
Yeah.
or something, you go out on 2 dates, you go out on 3 dates, and the next thing they're thinking is the wedding dress, the wedding gown, and they want to tie up the dates, they want to meet your parents and that kind of thing. And that thing scares men. It really scares them. Men are like these wild lions out over there. You bring to him meat that he didn't kill. He doesn't trust it. He wants to go and kill it by himself. So you're going to pin him down and say, you got to give me the date. We've met. This is September. By December, we got to do this. He will run, because he's thinking, why are you trying to trap me? Sometimes you've got to allow them. If you feel that they're taking you for a ride, sometimes then you just need to get out. Slow down on the relationship and see whether he will pursue you. But don't ever try to fix a man. He will run.
He will run.
He will run.
There you have it. Do not try to fix him. Remember, we will get to answer all of your questions. It's very easy right now. You can go to our WhatsApp line. Yes, we have that one. The number is 0700574747. 0700574747. Record your voice. Let us hear your voice. Your question, rather. And Pastor Chris will definitely answer that for you. Now, from social media, the relationship is wide.
Right.
Very, very wide. And the question here is a bit deep. It's about the relationship that this lady has with the church. She is a churchgoer, and she seems to be attracted to bad boys, and her reason is, she says...
What do you mean, bad boys?
Bad boys, boys who are not from the church. She says that, Pastor Chris, I am a churchgoer, I believe in Christ, but I am attracted to bad boys. Boys from the church are a bit boring, not adventurous. What do you have to say about that? I just had to put it out there.
Well, I'm not so sure that's true.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not so sure that's true, because I'm a boy from the church. And
you're not boring.
No.
Are you adventurous?
Yes, I think it's just the ground rules that people set right from the beginning. Sometimes, I'll talk about the church boys a bit, sometimes they're very scared of looking maybe carnal or something like that, or unspiritual. But I think what this girl wants is to have the feel of the other side.
Okay.
She just wants to have something different. She wants somebody who brings out something different in her, and maybe she's not finding that in church. Usually, somehow, we are attracted to what we don't have. And that will always happen. The other thing I could tell you is that ladies love with their hearts. They love with their hearts, and they worship God in their spirit, but they love in their hearts. That means that they can love anybody.
Pastor Chris, a question from the early discussion we had on Monday about finances.
Right.
Now, Martin asks, how am I supposed to be the leader in this relationship, in this marriage, if I am earning less than my woman?
You know, at the conclusion of that, I did quote Steve J. Lee, who said, money is just money.
Okay.
Money is not character, money is not fame. There's so many roles that you play as a husband, apart from the fact that you're supposed to be a provider. You can guide, you can lead, you can be the strength, you can be the undergird. He should not be intimidated. He should look at his wife's earning as a motivation for him to work harder. The moment he becomes intimidated, he is going to begin to intimidate the wife. So he should never feel insecure just because the wife earns more. But he should be strong enough. You know, there are various positions of leadership. You can lead from the front. You can lead from the top. You can lead from the back. The various positions. It takes security to lead from the back, because then you're allowing this person to become all that they can be without being intimidated, without trying to muzzle whatever they have, without trying to bring them down. There are moments when you lead from the front. And that is when you are doing nearly everything. You know, there are those times when you lead from the top, from above. So you are more of a visionary and guiding. So he should not feel intimidated, because his wife or the lady in his life is part of his life. The moment he gets intimidated, he's going to become a bad leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Martin, now you know. You
Yeah,
don't have to have the money to actually be the leader in your family. Something else.
But he should still work.
He should
use
still
that as a
work,
motivation.
not a lazy boy.
Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Someone who's called Chris, I mean, really. So he's saying, what does what God has put together, no man shall put asunder mean? I ask this because I've been seeing this lady, and she's been in a relationship with this guy for 10 years. They have 2 kids. But I do not think that whatever they have is what God put together. What do you have to say about that?
That's the difficult one. That's a very difficult one, because, you know, when you go spiritual, you go personal. When you go spiritual, you go personal. It's difficult for somebody to tell from afar that God is not involved in whatever. A relationship especially. Those are now convictions. Sometimes you can see signs that they're not compatible. I think what this person is looking at is probably issues like compatibility. And you can never tell the story of a relationship until you are in it, or unless those people talk to you. So you can't tell it by looking at them and making the observation. It depends. You know, some people prefer to be in a relationship where they are treated in a very different way from how you would prefer to be treated. From the earlier discussion that we had, you see, we had 2 different people. One is comfortable with the sharing. Then there's another one who feels like, well, let him take care of everything. And none of them is wrong. That's how they have perceived their relationships should be, and they're comfortable in that. So it's very difficult to tell from a side that that marriage was not ordained by God.
Now, I'm sure you've seen or heard so many stories about sponsors, and how, or probably even seen, because I'm sure you deal with so many people each and every day, where a relationship is about to break because there's this person with so much money who's just come in and poured money on your wife. Boof. And now the wife thinks Mr. Sponsor is better than my husband.
Right.
How would you advise the husband, or even the wife, if the wife is going through that? How would you advise them to handle this situation?
I think relationships are commitment.
Okay.
It's not emotion. Love is not so much an emotion as it is a commitment. So when you make that commitment, you make the decision that this is the person I want to be with. And no matter what season that person is going through, you stick right there. You know, society today defines success more by things like the money somebody has, the cars we drive, the good phones like your phone that was dropped in water some time back. And so it is more about the material stuff. And so many people then feel like, I want to have that kind of a life. And the truth is, money gives you a lot of options. Money gives you a lot of space. It gives you some sense of power. You can purchase, you can make certain decisions when you have money. So, I mean, everybody wants to have some money. But that should never come at the altar where you sacrifice your ideals and your values just because there is somebody who has some more money. I'm a believer in scripture, and it says that, money can fly. So you can be messing up with a very strong, good relationship that you have because somebody else has more money, and that person can lose their money. That money does not mean they're people of character. They could have gotten it anyway, know. Yeah. So stick to where you have committed. Stick to where you've committed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Remember, the hashtag is KTN Life and Style so that I'm able to get your questions faster on Twitter. Stella says faithfulness, Pastor Chris. What is the definition of faithfulness? Because I've been married to this guy for a while, but now I'm being attracted to someone else, and I'm giving them a bit of time more than I'm giving my husband. Is that faithfulness already, or does it have to be physical?
Well, what is happening probably is what you would call a wandering affection. That means that, and I'll say this, Moikali, right here. The fact that somebody has been married does not mean that they cannot be attracted. The fact that somebody is committed does not mean they cannot be attracted. The only thing that is going to define that person now is what they do with the attraction and with the feeling. If you keep on giving it thought, it is going to produce an action. So if she finds herself being drawn to somebody, she needs to work around that. She just needs to stop it. She needs to not pay the attention, because if she does that, her heart will just keep on going. Everybody gets tempted in one way or the other. It is what you do with that temptation that will define who you are. So having that attraction at the initial place is not a problem. What she does with it,
that's the problem.
That's the problem. And it could be a deeper problem than that. It could be that her marriage or her relationship has gotten to a certain phase where it doesn't have the spark. So she's looking for something exciting, or something that is going to bring her up, her energy and that kind of a thing. So maybe they're fighting a lot. Maybe they've just gotten bored. They've gotten used to each other, and she needs something new. So she needs to guard against that and try and bring the spark back to her marriage.
All right. We've got David on Facebook who asks, Pastor Chris, is it okay for Christians to divorce?
Well, even beyond the Christians, I just think that when you get married, and that's why I said it's more a commitment than an emotional issue, divorce just brings a lot of trouble all across. People get hurt. And most of the time, when somebody has divorced the first time, it is very easy to do that again, the second and the third and the fourth. So it doesn't really seem to solve the problem, because people are people. The things you do not want to deal with the first person, you may not want to deal with the second person. So divorce should never be your first thought. Every relationship that somebody has, they'll have to work it. And it's a lot of work. So I am not an advocate for divorce.
All right.
No.
Thank you so much for that. Laisha is saying, I think my man is suffering from short man syndrome. He does not like to see me wearing high heels, and he gets really angry when I'm in the company of men who are taller than him.
Well, he would be having his own issues with security. Some people will get a sense of power by their stature. Some people get their sense of power by their ability. Okay. Some people get their sense of power by their mentality. Some people by the money. So he probably is intimidated by his stature. And I know it is going to be very difficult for her to keep on, affirming him, because you can't do that forever. This is not something that is going to change. It's not like if you keep on telling him today, don't worry, he's going to grow taller. On the other hand, it's not fair for him to not allow her to put on the high heels just because then she looks taller. You've got to have the height on the inside to overlook the height shortage or on the outside.
Okay.
He's got to have enough height. There's short people who are very tall on the inside.
True.
So he shouldn't be intimidated, you know. Just be the man. Be tall on the inside.
Absolutely.
Have tall ideas.
We've got Susan here. One final question. Susan here, who's following up on David's question on divorce. And she says, if divorce is not something that you encourage, is it okay for us Christians to become second wives?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no, because you're coming into something that you're going to wreck. You're coming into a commitment, you're coming into somebody's space, and you're going to wreck it. So the thing is, as you come in as a second, you're thinking, if you were the first, would you want the other person to come in as a second?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so absolutely no.
Absolutely not. That's where we wrap it up for today. It's been Relationships Wednesday with Pastor Chris, and we do this all over again next week on Wednesday.
Right.
Did you feel overwhelmed?
No. I enjoyed the questions. You know, it gets you to get the feel of the people over there so that you get relevant with them. I would take more questions if it wasn't because of our time.
Absolutely. So keep sending your questions. Remember our social media platforms on Facebook, KTN Life and Style, Twitter and Instagram at KTN Life_Style. Until tomorrow, have a good day.